Thank you so much, Toastmaster Abhinav. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you so much. So what exactly is a debate? I will not tell you what is a debate. I will tell you what is not a debate. So the debate that happens on NDTV or Republic TV, they aren't debates. They are a chaos basically. And so explaining the rules of the debate, it's pretty simple. So first we'll have one speaker coming from the proposing team and the opposing team who will give the opening remarks for the debate. So that is round one. Round two, we will have supporting figures and arguments laid by both the teams. And the time limit for each round here would be 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Then moving on to round number three would be another supporting argument segment wherein members will counter the arguments given by the previous team in that. So that is a round three, and the time limit for that would be 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And then your final round would be the concluding remarks, wherein you summarize your points for your team. And the timing for that again would be 2 minutes and 30 seconds. After that, we'll have the first poll. Once that is done, we'll have a Q&A session. And in this Q&A session, the debate people won't ask each other questions. They are prepared. They'll be prepared for all sort of questions. So let the guests and the members ask. So we'll have one questions from the audience to both the teams. And that is pretty much the debate format. And the members of the debate team that we have today and Zoom Master, I request you to spotlight them as well. So from the proposing team, the first speaker will be Toastmaster Anvita, followed by Gopal and Satish. Then from the opposing team, the opening remarks will be given by Toastmaster Yash, then followed by Meghna and Paramjeet. And the topic that we have for today, I wish I had that drum roll music. Okay, I forgot it again. So the topic is, thank you so much Toastmaster Aishi for that virtual drum roll. The topic for today is, should a person's social media be considered by school admissions, police investigation, and potential employers? With this, I would now like to invite the first speaker from the proposing team, Toastmaster Anvita. Let's welcome her with a huge round of applause.
Thank you, Toastmaster Harsh. Good day, Toastmasters and your guests. Social media knows more about us than even our family and friends. It should definitely be considered by employers, admission officers, as well as police investigators. Various research supports this. A research conducted by Career Builder has found that 70% of the employers check social media profile of their potential employees. Another survey conducted by Kaplan Test Prep has found that 36% of the admission officer perform social media checks of university applicants. CNN Business has interviewed 1,221 law enforcement officers and has found that 4 out of 5 of them had gathered information through social media for investigations. Why do so many people rely on social media? Social media is a learning platform which provides information about a person above and over what is given in a CV or an application. A candidate can lie in the CV, can act or behave in a certain way even in the face-to-face interview, but his social media activity over an extended period of time cannot lie. This gives deeper insight into the personality and behavior about a candidate. Social media checks are faster and inexpensive. We don't have to wait for any response of an external agency. Social media gives both negative as well as positive information. Using this, we can create first impression and take quick decisions without waiting for several rounds of interviews. We can also get professional references from social media sites such as LinkedIn, which endorses endorsements as well as testimonials from professional contacts. Social media also gives a unique perspective about the university applicants to the admission officers. Their social media presence can revolve around an activity or a passion such as dance or sports, which makes the officer know about the interest, the talent, and the character of the student. The police people have gathered public information from social media to solve crimes. An example of this would be what happened in the city of Cincinnati. The police people arrested 71 people in the year 2008, and they also dismantled a local gang. They collaborated with the University of Cincinnati's Institute of Crime Science to create a database scraping information from social media, phone records, as well as police records. Then they used a software created by the university to analyze the information and establish links between the suspect. Similarly, in August of last year, the police arrested a person who made a series of threats to kill people in New York theater, which was broadcasting a Broadway show of famed boxer Mike Tyson. One of his tweets said that there are 600 people in my hit list and I'm going to murder all of them. The police people forced Twitter to provide his information and then they arrested him. Thus, a crime was prevented. All these examples show how technology, especially social media, can be used by the police to solve crime, for the academic officers to get insights into the students, and by professionals to evaluate the personality of all the candidates. Over to the moderator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anvita, for that. Before I proceed, let me just start my timer screen. My apologies, I slipped my mind. Zoom Master, can I get the sharing rights?
Can you check now?
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so the next person that we have will be from the opposing team, Toastmaster Yash. Zoom Master, can you please have him on spotlight?
Yeah. Am I audible and visible? Am I audible and visible?
Yes, yes.
So what can be harmful in watching a plane flying over your head from the window of your house? Nothing, right? Wrong. It can actually cost you your job. Lauren Wolf, a freelance editor working with the NYT New York Times, was fired from her job for tweeting about that. Now, this is what happens when you allow companies to invade your privacy. The biggest assumption made by companies when they snoop into your social media profiles is that social media is an accurate representation of your personality. But what if I'm simply a reserved person who keeps to myself? On the other hand, what if I give a completely false representation of myself and con my potential employers into believing that hiring me will be the wisest decision that they can ever take? We all know at least one person in our Facebook friend list who keeps posting on Facebook. How does posting vacation pictures on Facebook make you a better investment banker or accountant or coder? Social media should simply not be used to assess my worth as an employee or as a student or as a citizen. Another flaw in allowing institutions to access my social media is that I might be punished for trivial mistakes I made years ago. We continue to evolve as people. We all make mistakes. But if an institution thinks that the Yash of 5 years ago is the same as Yash of today, I will be paying a very large price for a trivial thing, isn't it? And isn't that very unfair? social media is a very, very small part of our lives, and that is how it should be. It should not be given more importance than it deserves. All institutions should be kept away from our social media profiles. Our social media profiles, our social media lives are completely separate. Our work lives are completely separate. Just because I spend my time a certain way on social media interacting with my friends doesn't make me either a better employee or a worse employee, a better citizen or a worse citizen. And that is where exactly the flaw is. If a certain bunch of companies or universities start using social media to assess candidate profiles, and just because their numbers are increasing, that doesn't make it right by default. If a university thinks that if my dance videos make me a better candidate for that particular university, why don't you simply eliminate entrance tests and just see my TikTok dance videos? Why don't you just go to Dance India dance auditions, and why do you even conduct IIT JEE? This is what proves that social media cannot be relied upon for making critical decisions. Social media is just for fun. It is just for interacting with friends, keeping some memories in the form of photographs, seeing what your friends are up to, and that's it. It is not my worth as an individual. It is a small part. Let's keep it a small part. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Yash. Now moving on to the next round, and the person coming from the proposing team is Toastmaster Gopal. Zoommaster, can you please have him on spotlight, please?
Am I audible and visible properly, clearly, Harsh?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Can you see the timer cards?
Yes, it's
Timer,
white, right?
please note the, so sorry to interrupt. Timer, please note the timing for this round will be 2 minutes.
Presiding officer, fellow Toastmasters, and future Toastmaster, my dear panel moderator, do you all like to be stalked or want to be stalked? Personally, I do not. I know you all also do not like to be stalked. But till how much time will stay behind this dark curtain of pretendness? Let me pull you to the heaven of truth. When the government of UK told the UK HR union to conduct a survey and hand it over to the government, asking how many of the HRs like to do the background checks through social media also for their upcoming employees. The result was speakingly 95%, and 75% of them successfully completes the background check, including social media platform. LinkedIn is a very formal. Apart from LinkedIn, Facebook or Instagram, anything. And this background check is done between the offer period and the joining date. They have full right to reject you. When asked upon, how can you do so? The only answer was, the company is liable to do anything. You accept all the terms and conditions because you want that hard cash in your bank account. When the similar survey was done in USSR, they found that 80% of employers are interested to stock upon their employees. But similarly, when the case comes to India, to our amazement, and today I feel comfortable while saying this, that only 60% of our employers does this, only because the workforce is higher here. But when we go to the smaller firms, like about 5,000 in strength of employees, they would like to stalk their employees, and they specifically ask for their social media accounts because every single employee costs very much to them. I see directly the red card. Okay. And then similar is the process for every other organization in this world. I know we all don't like it, but this is the set. Over to you, panel moderator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Gopal. And moving on to the next speaker that we have. Next speaker from the opposing team is Toastmaster Meghna. Zoom Master, can we please have her on spotlight, please? Okay, yeah. Can you see the timer cards?
Yes, I hope I'm audible and visible.
Yes.
Okay. I would like to bring to everyone's notice here that running standard background checks has always been a part of hiring processes, be it the government services like UPSC or defense candidates, or private corporations or MNCs, since a long time. What we are talking about here is an addition to this process by assessing social media profiles, which is known as internet screening. The good old background checkups, which were done earlier, entailed proper and thorough cross verification of candidates' furnished details, along with going through the criminal records. Now, there was no prying on the individual's banter with friends, their competitions, their fights, their rapport with neighbors, or their choice of entertainment and leisure. And do you know why? Because it's never been relevant. And internet screening is exactly that. It is an irrelevant screening of individuals' internet impressions, and which goes way beyond the scope of a pertinent standard background check. Now, the University of Pennsylvania, in their paper, stated that the morality and good character are the principal reasons why people and the employers conduct internet screening. Now, morality and good characters are subjective constructs, and they're based on individuals' core values. Since two individuals vary widely from each other, and so do their core values, there can never be a bottom line to what morality and good character objectively mean. Hence, if the principal reason to do internet screening itself is baseless, so is its execution. Anyway, eliminating dangerous candidates is always taken care of by the standard background checks, which are always done by the companies. The University of Edinburgh Sociology Department, in their journal, stated that subjecting individuals to screening is simply subjecting them to employers' inherent bias by virtue of being a human. For example, fear of feminism would weed out feminist candidates. A grammar Nazi employer would be unhappy with candidates using short forms on social media. Well, my father uses short forms on social media, but he's a damn good officer. And there are other biases as well, such as anti-divorce, anti-smoking, anti-drinking, all of which are not pertinent or reflective of someone's workplace ethics and integrity. The study went on to recommend what pertinent points should be taken care of in hiring process. They are skills, expertise, experience, letters of recommendation, and standard background checks. It's not that difficult to understand that there is blatant breach of privacy when we undergo the screening process of candidates' profiles, and it should not be done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Meghna. Now we move on to the most interesting round, the countering round. In this round, basically, your team will be countering the points put up by the other team. And who is coming from the proposing team then?
Yeah,
Who
I'm
would like to
coming.
counter?
I'm coming, Harsha.
Awesome. Zoom Master, can you please have her on spotlight, please? Oh, awesome. Can you see the timer cards?
Oh, I can see it. It's in red. Okay. Now let us talk about falsification of information. A survey conducted by Facebook says that there are 5% fake accounts in their website. What about the other 95% of them? In Facebook, that means that there are 90 million fake accounts. What about the other billion records? Can't we perform social media check on those 95% of the real accounts? And regarding to boasting, yes, a person can boast. But in sites like LinkedIn, you need to have testimonials and endorsements by others, that is by your professional contacts. And in some social media sites, you even need to display your certificate, such as that of Urban Pro. Somebody will verify that, and then they'll provide you access to that site. So in these cases, falsification of information, I think it is of low priority. And anyway, a person can falsify information once or twice, he can boast, but continuously, I'm not sure whether he can do it for extended periods of time. And regarding that point of our trivial mistake of years ago should not determine our future, research by University of California has proved that past behavior is an excellent predictor of future behavior. By analyzing the type and quality of post of the person which had posted previously, we'll get to know what kind of a person is. And regarding social media cannot be used to take critical decision. Yes, it can be used. In my company itself, HR manager screen the social media profile of candidates in order to evaluate personality. They then form teams with candidates of different personality because it was only then that the teams could collaborate and corroborate. And in Oxford University, one of the criteria is that students should be good in extracurricular activities. They want to know what they're passionate about. In order to recruit people to their sports team, they usually choose people who are interested in sports or passionate about it. They'll get information from social media. So this way we can know that all three people can still consider social media to conduct background checks. Over to the moderator.
Those were some shots fired by the proposing team. Now, opposing team, are your cannons ready with your shots? And who would be the one firing those shots?
I'll go.
Awesome. Zoom Master, can you please have Toastmaster Meghna on spotlight? That was quick. Can you see the timer cards?
Yeah.
Awesome. The floor is all yours.
Okay. Yeah. So the proposing team mentioned falsification of information on social media like Facebook being an issue. Now, that is precisely the reason why we are saying that social media screening should not be a part of admissions, police investigations, or hiring purposes for companies. Now, one more important thing which I'd like to bring out is that there are people out there who don't have social media profile or a good social media presence. How would you discern whether they are a good candidate or not? We are essentially leaving such people out of the debate here. And we cannot do that owing to the fact that I myself feel that I don't have a social media presence. So what would you discern something about me? If the employer wants to hire me for a job and they wouldn't see that I have a profile, how would they go about doing it? Because social media presence does not have any hold or any say when you hire a person for their skills, their expertise, or their experience, because that's what matters in the end. Also, I would like to say that social media always acts as a smoke screen. Anybody can present themselves as any which way possible. And it is not the right way to gauge someone's competence and gauge someone's efficiency in a workplace environment.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Meghna. Now we move on to the final segment of the debate, which will be the concluding remarks. And from the proposing team, we have Toastmaster Satish, who will be finishing up for them. Zoom Master, can we please have him on spotlight? Can you see the timer cards?
We've had very compelling arguments today from our fellow debaters. But let me just try and summarize this entire debate and where we stand as a team step by step. When it comes to considering school students, we do realize that where are school students these days, right? All the marketing pundits from the club do know where to reach students these days. They are spending maximum of their time online. So which we feel that when it comes to associating their social behavior, what they do on a day-to-day basis, what their likes and interests are being majorly communicated with social media. And that's why it becomes extremely important. Moving to the next part, which is considering social media related information for police investigations. Let's be frank. Is it not happening right now? Very actively? Do we not have a cyber security team in place which actually takes care of social media kind of a bullying and how we are tracking culprits which are out there? These relevant, critically important information which are providing security to our citizens shall not be ignored at all at any cost. Moving ahead, when it comes to whether employers should or shouldn't consider the data of social media, Where we stand is that at a point where employee is able to reach employers via social media using the same platform, shouldn't the employers be able to use the same platform to evaluate them as well? Any which ways, it's a conscious decision of whatever is being portrayed or posted by the person who's using that social media account. So yes, we are standing here at a stage where what should be done and what is actually happening right now. But let me tell you, whenever we are picking out a sample in a go down of which is full of rice, full of grains, what do? We pick a sample, right? And if there is something which is wrong with that sample, we reject that block. And that has been working on for a very long period of time. Would like all of you to think on it before you keep the answer.
That was gracefully summarized by the proposing team. Now we move on to the final team, which is the opposing team's remarks. And from the opposing team, we have Toastmaster Paramjeet. Zoom Master, can we please have her on spotlight, please? Toastmaster Paramjeet, can you see the timer cards?
Yes, I can see. Am I audible and visible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So to conclude, as we have all heard about how social media data is being taken for certain analysis done for our school admissions by potential employers and for police verifications, we have all heard that this has been taken into consideration. But do we really feel that this is giving a true picture of everyone, of all social media, who all scroll social media? Is it giving a true picture, or is it really required, or is it showing about the skill sets of the employees, or giving for a prospective candidate for any admission for any specific field? It is not giving. As we all know that there is a research which tells us that 64% of people who are posting on social media on various platforms that we all use, it's giving a false image of person. And even in fact, the 16% of people who are posting, it is also even giving a false, we understand later on that that is also even false. So basically, it has been highlighted that there are skill sets, what we need today, what India needs today, or what the world needs today: innovation, disruption, ideas and brainstorming. Are we getting any such type of skill sets indication from the social media data? No, we always get an image based on the behavior. We always consider the behavior as aspect, but that is influenced and conditioned by various peers, friends, and all, and it differs from situation to situation. Everyone, the change is the new constant, as we all know, and we even change or get influenced so easily that we change our remarks, we change our ideas, we change our concepts, or we even copy and forward shares. Which doesn't give out original picture of ourselves. We don't show our original self to everyone. So this is all a medium for sharing false and fake information, and we know about the privacy issues as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Paramjeet. Now that we are done with the arguments and conclusion from both the teams, let's quickly have the first round of polls. Zoom Master, can we have the polls? Are we good to go? Zoom Master, are we done with the polls?
Yes, we are done with the polls.
Thank you so much. Now we move on to the Q&A session. And the rules of the Q&A session is simple. The audience will ask the question to the debate participants. So first we'll have a question for the opposing team. So who would like to ask the question to the opposing team? You can raise your hands or turn on your video. Anyone? Anyone? Come on. Otherwise, I'll have to give it to the proposing team. I don't want to give it to them because they're well prepared. They'll have very tough questions. I want to make it fun. Come on, guys. Who would like to ask the question? All right, no worries. I believe the luck is with the proposing team right now. Proposing team, so who would like to come and ask the question? All right, and Toastmaster Satish, you'll get exactly 30 seconds to ask your question. Post that, I'll be muting you.
I'd like to ask the opposing team that considering now the online revolution and what we have faced in last 1.5 years with the pandemic, we know the presence of online is almost as equivalent when it comes to the real presence. One of the examples is even Toastmaster meetings these days. Shouldn't we be considering the reality where everything nowadays has been transported to online? What would be their take on it?
Yeah, I will take that question. Okay, so specifically talking about the last 2 years, that is the years of the pandemic, how is it even related to the topic we have at hand? The topic at hand is related to social media. In the last 2 years, have we had any new social media platforms? No, it is still the same Facebook, Instagram, etc. What has changed is that we have moved to better video conferencing solutions like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, etc. And they are not counted as social media. They are simply different online tools for getting things like video conferencing and interacting with your teammates. So first of all, I think this question itself is irrelevant, but I would still go on to try to answer that by saying that data has been exploding. True that that the scraps of data that we are leaving around as online citizens, it has been increasing, but the biggest problem is that that data is being misused. And the biggest example of the misuse of that data was the Russian hacking of elections of the US in 2016. And that's precisely why social media data should not be allowed to be used by any other corporation, be it governments, be it companies, or be it universities for admissions.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Yash. Now we have someone from the opposing team who would like to ask the question. Come on, opposing team, who's coming?
Sure, I have a question.
Awesome. I'll spotlight you. You have 30 seconds to ask your question.
So one of the points put forth by the proposing team was that multiple layers of interviews can fail, but social media cannot fail. How do we know that it is simply not a cost-saving trick by HR employees who are always under budget pressures? Number one. Number two, isn't that a failure on the HR's part itself? That if they are not able to screen a candidate after so many rounds of interview, how can social media actually help you?
Yeah, I will take that question. Screening through social media websites. I do not think they actually do screening through social media websites. What they do is they check the psychology. Specifically, you have psychology tests going on for which you are declared that yes, the psychology of this person aligns with our company's motto and goals and the psychology which that company has. But we know how psychology tests work nowadays. Many people are faking those also. They will put multiple question many a times, and I know what I have to take. I agree or I do not agree. Am I a good person? I will take agree. Are you a good person? Yeah, I will take I agree. So we know how to hack those psychology tests. But one of your team members said that we forward anything unknowingly which we do not recognize as our own content. That does not happen. Imagine any member forwarding a very bad message and they do not acknowledge that. Is it happening? No. For at least 5 to 10 days or months, yes, I will own that responsibility of forwarding and all. So we do not think that any person of importance for our educational institution or company will come to our social media accounts and check things. But yes, unknowingly it happens. And then the layer of all the transitions or the continuous period of your social media activity defines your personality. It's not that you will fake for years. I do not think a good person can fake himself for years. That's my take.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Gopal. So this brings us to the end of the debate. And before I hand it over, Zoom Master, can we have the second round of polls as well?
Request everyone to please vote. Yes, voting is completed. Thank you.
So thank you so much for being a part of the debate. And before I hand it over to the Toastmaster of the day, I'd like to thank two people over here. One would be Toastmaster Rajveer and another would be a timer Toastmaster Ayush. Hats off to you guys for spotlighting everyone quickly, sharing your timer cards, handling those everything. All these small things are the things that actually make a meeting a big hit. So huge round of applause to you guys.